Walker with you, joined by Radley Brown. Radley and I already talking about wormholes and teleportation. You've got the good guy to be chatting about the Northern BC Regional Science Fair. Radley, first off, tell me a bit about yourself. What is it you do with the science fair? Are you just one of the judges? Are you a teacher? Are you the guy who's heading all this up and making sure that the students have the accurate information?
Most definitely. So first and foremost, I'm a local, born and raised Fort St. John, proud to be here. And I'm actually a high school teacher teaching chemistry at the high school in Fort St. John, North Peace Secondary School. My role as on the Science Fair Committee is a co-chair. Okay. So I'm there helping run and help organize and plan, and we meet as a committee about once a month to be able to put on the Northern British Columbia Regional Science Fair.
Now, when we're talking regional, how regional is it? Is it kids from Fort St. John, Charlie Lake, Taylor, or are we going like way out there?
So we go way out there. So our region includes School District 61 in Fort Nelson and the surrounding area. Mm-hmm. School District 60, which is Fort St. John, Presbyterian and the surrounding area, Charlie Lake, Upper Pine, Clairview. And School District 59, which includes Dawson Creek, Chetwynd, Tumbler Ridge, and all the surrounding areas.
So we're currently in the early stages of still inviting students, right? And we want students from Fort Nelson to Dawson Creek and everywhere in between. How do they sign up? How do they take part?
So if you're part of a school, you're able to find a teacher who's responsible for it. Some schools will have their own mini fairs and will send the best of their best.
Oh, no, we want to see them all. Send them all down here. When is the science fair taking place?
So the science fair is taking place April 3rd. The morning will be judging, and then in the afternoon, there'll be time for public viewing at the North Peace Secondary School.
Okay, so if somebody's kid is taking part, they get in a little bit early. I'm sure they can help their kids set up, whatever it might be. But open to the whole public, not just students, not just teachers from other regions. We want the whole community to come by the secondary school, take a look at all the work that the students have done.
Most definitely, and that will happen later in the day, probably 2 or 3 o'clock. But we will get a firm schedule out there.
When we're talking about students and the science fair, first off, what age range are we looking for? And I'm assuming it's not just going to be 200 volcanoes and baking soda and vinegar. What kind of work have students done in the past? What are you looking for this year?
Well, definitely. So the age range is from 10 to 18, so grades 4 to grades 12. And students in grades 7 to 12 have an opportunity to go to the Canada-wide Science Fair, which is in Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Well, I mean, you know, when I think science, I think Fredericton, New Brunswick. That's mean. I should be nicer to New Brunswick. And like I said, I mean, not all volcanoes are going to win. What are some of the things that you've seen students do? What are some examples of even if it's just dipping their toes into science for the first time? What are some projects you can see?
So some of the best projects are actually ones that have immediate relevancy to the student who's doing it.
Okay.
There's students looking at horses' diets. There's students looking at, hey, the food is going bad. Why is it going bad? And they ask the question, and then they're like, oh, let's figure it out. We had someone looking at how well teachers can detect AI writing. And did really well in the Canada-wide Science Fair last
I bet they
year.
did. Yeah, that's suddenly implemented all over Canada. So we're talking about students, and it's really what interest holds them, right?
Yes.
And it's got to be something that the student is passionate about as well. We see that in science all the time. I mean, the more passionate you are about a topic, the more likely you are going to be able to dig into it, ask those questions, problem solve. It's not all, you know, programming a robot, or it's not all, like I say, I make fun of the volcanoes, but like there's more than one type of volcano out there. I'm just saying you could maybe get into a little bit of geography. I don't know, anything else that you want to share about this? We've done the age range. We know what dates it's happening. We've invited students and the public to come out. Are we missing anything here, Radley?
Well, none of this is actually possible without the community pitching in. We have a whole bunch of sponsorship from a whole bunch of companies. Companies like Co-op, companies like Optimal Trucking, Metro Testing, Agate Laboratories. We have companies like Skyline Well Testing and Home Hardware, and even the local CUPE 4563, which is the Union of Public Employees. So it's the janitors in the school, the secretaries in the school. They belong to that union. And including veterinarian, North Peace Veterinary, and Vector Geomatics. There's a lot of sponsors who put resources in, and it allows us to give awards to the students who have these genius ideas.
I love that. And finally, you mentioned that the reason this was kind of on pause, the reason there was a little bit of hesitancy is you always need volunteers. You need board members. You need people to help. Can we put a call out for the community as well to, hey, listen, if you're interested, if you want to help us out, who can they get in contact with?
Well, definitely. So if you're wanting to volunteer, well, there's lots of volunteer opportunities. You can email nbcrsf@gmail.com. It's the letters for Northern BC Regional Science Fair.
Oh, yeah, that makes way more sense. I'm like, whose name is nbcrsf@gmail.com. And again, if you're out there, you have a student, you have someone who is interested in science, foster that. Absolutely foster that. Let them ask the questions. Let them on the internet within reason. But I mean, you're from a science background. I'm from a science background. We both love sciences. We love that curiosity in kids and teenagers especially. And we need to foster the sciences more than we ever have. Radley, thank you so much for coming in. Can't wait to do this again.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I would love to do it again.
Oh, we're going to do it again. A Northern BC Regional Science Fair coming soon to Fort St. John, coming soon to a school near you.
Member of Parliament Bob Zimmer. Stop by his office in Fort St. John at 9916 100th Avenue